It is exactly 8:02. I think we can go ahead and get started. Sheiko families, I'd like to welcome you here this evening to Sheiko Connect. Our hope and our purpose for this evening is to help you and your families navigate remote learning together with us. We've been down this road before. We can do this. We got this. And tonight I have with me Mrs. Van Nostrand, who is our I-Center teacher, as well as our literacy coach. Ms. Van Nostrand, wave. We also have Mrs. Engelhardt here with us, and she is our reading consultant. And they will be helping us this evening as we discuss a few things that we think are important for you to have and to know as we prepare for remote learning. Right now, that date, our expected return date to school is November 30th. In between now and then, you may have a lot of questions and things that you'd like to know more about. Go ahead, Shanda.
You should also be able to, I gave you permission, I'll click next, but just let me know if you want me to.
Okay.
Should be able to do it, but.
All right, go ahead. The move to remote learning, how did we get here? Many of you received a letter from Dr. Gill the other day, and the decision to move to remote learning was due to the significant increase in prevalence of COVID-19 in Oakland County, with the county being at a risk level E, the highest risk category, and the presence of active COVID-19 cases in our school district. You may click below to see more about the letter, to read the letter in its entirety. If you have not already read the letter, I would ask that you take a moment to go through that later this evening or sometime tomorrow, and that will help clarify how we got here as a district and why the decision was made for us to move to remote learning. Mrs. Engelhardt is going to go over a sample of Sheiko's daily schedule.
So just keeping in mind that what your student is currently used to is either attending Sheiko in the morning and then being on campus in the afternoon, or being on campus in the morning and then attending face-to-face instruction in the afternoon. Due to us switching to virtual, your student will now have their teacher for an entire school day. You will notice that our start of the school day is at 9 o'clock and the end of the school day is 3 o'clock. So this is a sample of one teacher's schedule. Your child's teacher will put this on their Canvas page as well. So you might see a few changes in terms of when the special is, when their I&E time is, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and possibly the order of their academic areas. But consistently across our building, from 9 to 9:20 every morning, we will start our day off with a morning meeting. The day will continue with, it'll vary with the subject level or the subject area. And we're doing pockets of 20 minutes to 40 minutes of instruction. Teachers will embed in breaks during the day. We are asking that once the student logs into Zoom at 9 o'clock, that they stay logged into their Zoom session with their teacher unless they go to specials or unless it's lunchtime. Like I said, the teacher will be providing some breaks. They will do some face-to-face instruction. The teacher will do some guided instruction, and then your student will have an opportunity for some independent practice. And again, there'll be some breaks in between the subject areas. If your student has an IEP or was receiving reading intervention or is an English language learner, they will continue to have support like they did when we were in our hybrid environment. This support will take place during independent work time. So for example, if you look at this reader's workshop block on this sample schedule, it's from 12:20 to 1:40. Generally, the teacher has about 15 minutes of instruction. Then they have a 30 to 40 minute block of independent reading time and some time where they close up their reading workshop with a share. During that 30 to 40 minutes of independent reading time, that's when, if your child is receiving services, they may receive services during that time, or your teachers will also be doing small group instruction or conferring with your student. We'll be following the same model For math, if your child's receiving math support, and again, they will not be missing instruction time. They will receive the support during the independent time.
Miss Englehart, I have a question. If
Sure.
I have a child that that receives that support, and will they have to sit through that support? Will my students be sitting all day in front of the computer?
Absolutely not. So your student would still, it's a good question, by the way. Your student, when they're receiving that support, for example, during that independent reading block, their
Mhm.
classmates are also doing independent reading. So the teacher might say to the student, you're going to read for the next 30 minutes and then take a break. Or maybe they're going to take a break for 10 minutes and then come back to the reading, where the student receiving services might have services for 25 minutes on the front end, then have a break for 5 to 10 minutes before having the closing or the share. So there will be breaks embedded within.
So another question is, just to clarify for parents, will my computer be on the entire day?
Good question. Your computer will be on for your student the entire day except for the lunchtime. So from 11:40 to 12:20, your student can log off of Zoom and they have that time to do lunch, to move around, whatever activities you want to provide for your child, hopefully away from a screen. But between that 9 and 11:40 and 12:20 to 3, we are asking for your child's computer to be on and open to Zoom.
Okay. All right. Ms. Van Nostrand, what about specials?
Specials, the students will be on Zoom. So the specials is a 40-minute time block. And this serves as like a planning period for our teachers. So the specials teachers will be on Zoom with the students in a separate Zoom. So they would log out of their Zoom with their teacher, log into their special Zoom, which will be posted on the Canvas page. And they will spend 30 minutes learning with their specials teacher on Zoom, and then the last 10 of those minutes will be independent work, but still logged into the Zoom with the specials teacher. So depending on which special they have, maybe they'll continue their drawing for art, or maybe they'll continue an exercise for PE. So it'll be a 40-minute special instead of what it's currently been, which is 30 minutes. And they will be with their specials teacher for that time period. Their actual special itself, the day they have their special hasn't changed, but in order to accommodate pulling the groups together into one group, the time has changed. So that'll be posted on the teachers, the homeroom teachers Canvas page, or classroom teachers classroom Canvas page, and on the specials teachers page.
You just said something that made me think, so I'd like to clarify for parents. You said for the whole group, because we are no longer face-to-face and we had cohort A, cohort B, do the cohorts have a different time, or is it the entire class?
It's the entire class. So this
Okay.
virtual learning schedule is for the entire class. You're very good. You're a very good actress, by the way. I love Sonia James, the parent. So it is the students, all of the students. For example, this is an example of Miss Emmert's class.
Mm-hmm.
All of the students are following this class. Great question.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we clarify for parents, because I know that parents are operating in the mode of cohorts, and we're now going to a whole class. So just wanted to make sure. Thank you. And Ms. Englehart, would you share with us, Jess, what are those expectations for our students each and every day as they log into their Zooms?
So if you want to go to your next slide, because I know it has a nice list for parents as well. So if you see that students are being asked to log in daily beginning at 9 a.m., this is different than our normal start time. Our normal start time is 8:25. So you want to get into a good routine of having your student wake up, provide them a good breakfast, and I would say around 8:50 every morning, make sure they are in the best learning spot for them, somewhere in your home with uninterrupted learning, because they will have that Zoom open. They need to be logged in and ready for that morning meeting at 9 a.m., which could mean them starting up the computer, like I said, around 8:50, to give them time to sign in and find their teacher's Canvas page and click on that Zoom link. Once they are on that Zoom, it is a good recommendation if you have headphones, or I have these like earbuds. The microphone seems to help teachers be able to hear your student much better when they're wearing the headphones. It does eliminate some of the background noise as well. So if you can find a spot in your house with an area that can be uninterrupted learning. As we said earlier, we want them to log in for the entire day, except for that block for recess and lunch, or I like to call it recess and lunch. I would send my own personal children outside. But we really want them engaged. So when you think about that as parents and the best learning environment for them, I highly recommend a table or a desk, a chair where we can see their face on a screen. It's really hard when all you see is the student's forehead. It's better when we see their entire face, making some eye contact. They'll be asked to be doing some writing. So that's where that desk or table comes into play. I know the bed's comfortable, but we were really asking no bed. We really want to keep that expectation of school learning. If they were at school, they would not be laying down. So we really want them engaged at a table in a great spot where they can do their best learning. Attendance is going to be taken by the teacher. And please correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be taken once in the morning and once again in the afternoon.
Yes.
Okay.
Attendance will be taken twice a day.
We are asking for our elementary age students that they are visible during instruction. So that means that their video camera is on so the teacher can see them. I know teachers might have a different preference during the independent reading time based on what they set up in their classroom. That could be different while they're independently working, but I know during instruction, they do want to be able to see the students' faces. I know this is a hard ask, but if possible, we are asking that additional family members, pets, toys, honestly, distractions, if they could not be visible during this instructional time. And I know it's hard. We're all working at home. We're sharing our space with families, younger siblings, older families. But it's not just a distraction for your own student. It can also be a distraction for the other students on the Zoom. So we do know there's extenuating circumstances, but if we try to keep that to a minimum, we would really appreciate it. The children did create a social contract during the hybrid face-to-face instruction within their classroom. I know teachers will be revisiting that this week and continue to use that social contract. And I know there's plans for them to tweak it based on this virtual experience now. But there is the expectation that all of the students continue to follow this class social contract. And most importantly, we really want the students to continue to enjoy learning. I mean, right now we've seen the excitement, the joy, the enthusiasm with those masks on. And at least for me, part of the joy of the virtual is now we get to see their smiling faces and to see that expression and beyond their eyes. And so I know that's one thing I'm looking forward to in this whole experience. And I know every teacher and support staff right now is really working on creating plans to engage your students where they are enjoying learning during this time.
I just want to add one thing about the headphones. So Mrs. Engelhardt mentioned the students being able to have headphones and that it's easier to hear when the students are talking, and it kind of eliminates some of the distraction for them as well. If the headphones do not have a microphone on them, the students do have to unplug and plug back in when they do want to share. So that just might be something to just check to see if the headphones that you have a microphone on them built in, because then they're like, wait, you can't hear me. They think they're having technology issues, and I'll just say, unplug your headphones and then I can hear them perfectly. So maybe just letting them know whether or not their headphones actually have a microphone might help, because headphones are a great tool, and I feel like the students can hear better, and a lot of them are more focused with them on. I Zoom with students all day, Monday and Tuesday. So I would definitely say kids do like the headphones.
So a quick question, is there a way for parents to test their headphones before the Zoom, Ms. Van Nostrand? Is there a way to test that?
To see if the microphone.
Yeah.
I know there's a way to test the audio. I would have
Okay.
to double check to see
Okay.
if it actually registers the.
Okay.
And just while I'm thinking about what Shahan is thinking, I know parents for sure this week, Thursday and Friday, when your students are logging in at 9 o'clock, you may just want to kind of stay within earshot, because when the teachers are doing that morning meeting, I know they're going to be going over some technical things with your student. And that's when they'll probably be checking the sound as well and teaching them how to open up a tab while still keeping Zoom open. And I know some teachers will appreciate having a parent support during that time as well to help guide your student with that.
Right.
James, we do have a hand up in the participant list, but I just wanted to let everyone know, because it's a webinar, we don't have the ability to have you talk during this time. So I don't want you to forget where your question is. Please email Ms. James at sonia.james@wbsd.org. I know you have a question and I feel really bad, but there's no way for us to get that question right now other than email. Sorry about that.
I do believe my email address is at the end of the webinar, at the end of our presentation as well too. So parents, you'll be able to capture my email address at the end of this as well. Thank you. Ms. Van Nostrand, would you continue on telling us about tomorrow?
Sure.
We're distributing materials, supplies, what's happening tomorrow?
Okay, so tomorrow we have time set up for materials and supply distribution. There's an early morning pickup from 8 to 9, and that's for all grade levels. And then you can see the schedule is broken down by grade level. So 3rd grade is 9 to 10:30, 4th grade is 11 to 12:30, and 5th grade is 1 to 2:30. If you have multiple children at Sheiko, you can pick up your materials for all of your students at any of the grade level times. You're going to pull right into the car line. You're going to give the adult outside your child's name and teacher, and then they'll grab that student's belongings and then put them in your trunk. So go ahead and open the trunk for us, especially right now, being that we are in that, that level E. We just want to make sure we have as little interaction as possible, and having those trunks open is going to be super helpful for that, contactless distribution. If your child had items in their locker, the staff took time on, what was that? That would have been Monday, right?
Yes.
To put all of the things that were in their locker into a bag with their names on it. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to have anyone enter the building or get out of cars during this time. And we just ask that you're patient. It does take some time to go gather the materials and then bring them back to your car. So if there's a time on this schedule that that works best for you, please make sure you choose that time, because we really can't do anything to make the process go any quicker. I know there'll be a lot of staff on hand and there's going to be a lot of people helping. So we don't anticipate, super long wait times, but patience will be patience and grace will be greatly appreciated during the, materials and supply distribution.
And thank you for that, Ms. Van Nostrand. And parents understand that these times are not etched in stone. If there's a time that works better for you and it's not your specific grade level time, you're more than welcome to come at a time that really works for you. It just makes life a little easier in terms of distributing materials if we do it by grade levels. However, we understand that you are working families as well too. And if you had a child in 5th grade and you can come before going to work at 8 o'clock, by all means, come at 8 o'clock. Or if you have a child in 5th grade and you need to come at 11, by all means, you're more than welcome to come at 11 o'clock. A few things to just remind parents. Fortunately, our students did not have many items in their lockers because they just haven't left many personal items in there. We did highlight the names of students that left items in each teacher's classroom. Those items were bagged up and they will be placed in your child's bag tomorrow. So if your child left any personal items in there, we've marked them off. So right now, all of our lockers are cleaned out and everything has been labeled so that we are returning items to our students. And I know that as I move on to the next slide, just thinking about matters of the heart and how do we now just help as a building, help our parents and our students during this time right here. Shanda, if you don't mind going to the next slide, it is just making sure that
Sonia, before
mhm.
you do that, just I know that one thing that talking about the safety of the material and supply distribution just before we move to the matters of the heart,
Mhm.
you know, having the masks on when you're sharing your student's name and teacher's name is really huge at keeping us all safe. All of us will be wearing masks as we pass things out. And if you don't mind, before you roll down your window to put your mask on, that would be super awesome. So thank you for your help with
Thank
that.
you.
Us all safe.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder, Shanda. And parents, we know that having kids home and Zooming, and some of you may be working from home, just knowing that there's going to be time for you that you will need to take time for yourself because now you're moving back into triple duty. And that's the same for our teachers as well. They have families and they may have students or children at home as well, or spouses that are working from home. So everyone is navigating this together. Just remember, be kind to yourself, accept imperfections, release control sometime, allow time to grieve. And when I say grieve, just grieving the fact that, it's change and change may be uncomfortable. And there's so many things happening in the world today. And here's just one more thing on our plates. And that's just not our family's plates, but it's also our staff plates as well, too. Just as you are going through this, we are going through this together as well. But our goal is ultimately to reassure our students that everything's going to be okay. And we it, and know that we are here to help. Reach out to us. Let us know if you have questions. Let us know if you need support. That's why we are here. Later in the presentation, you will also receive information, our email address for our school social worker. If there's someone that you just need to talk to, know that staff at Sheiko Elementary is here for you. Press pause. And sometimes you just need to take a break. If you're finding that the day is just overload for your household, email your child's teacher and let them know. And also know your own body and your temperament, how much you can handle and how far you can stretch yourself. Also, make sure you're listening to the children. Just as we, as the adults, are going through this change, our kids are going through another transition as well too. You may begin to see some changes. Many of our kids were very happy in school. They were back to some routines, a sense of normalcy. They were able to see their friends while the interactions may have been different, but they were out of the house. They were with classmates. They were with their teachers. And now they're back at home and they're no longer able to access their friends as easy or to see them in person. So know that there may be an attitude change or change towards school and work because it's another change. I don't want to do school I don't want to do Zoom. I don't want to do those things, but helping kids through that process. And if you're experiencing those things, please, again, reach out to myself, our school social worker, have your kids share their thoughts if needed. Your child talk to your child's teacher, have your kids journal. It is okay to take a break and restart, but let us know so that we can help as well. And language matters. When in doubt, validate. Positive praise each day and do it often. Let your children know how well they're doing. And their teachers will do the same thing. Have those little those things that really make your kids happy around. Create an environment where it is, yes, there's change, but yes, we're going to work through this and we're here together. I love you too much to argue. Just remember that your language, even your body language, what you say can either fill their cup or can drain their cup. So let's make sure that we're trying to fill their cups on our end at our building, and we're trying to capture our kids' hearts. And we'd like for that to happen at home as well, too. And we know, parents, that it is a lot. And there's heavy lifting, not only on the part of the parent, but also on the part of the staff as well, too. We're having to, as the term pivot once again. And I think we did a really nice job of pivoting earlier last March, and we made it through. And I think that we're going to do an even better job this time around because we've worked out the kinks and we know what's ahead of us. So remember, language matters. Just pour positive into our kids. And remember, a complaint or misbehavior is just a hidden feeling or a hidden request sometime from our kids. Behavior, whether it's positive or negative or misbehavior, is also their form of communication because they may not be able to communicate to you what they're truly feeling right now. Susie, would you take that? You're so good at this. You're muted.
She's.
I need a shirt that says you're muted. Children are our little heroes. So if you need to think about why they're our heroes too, missing their grandparents, extended family, friends in school, lack of normal routines, loss of structure to their day, parents who are stressed, worried, scared, and just different. Overhearing talk and news without an understanding of what they hear. So even though we're stressed as adults, we need to remind ourselves that we need to give our little heroes more cuddles, more one-on-one playtime, an extra dose of patience, and definitely forgiveness. So keep that in mind.
All right. So what to do when I need help? So here are just, a couple of the options. Reach out to the classroom teacher, reach out to Miss James. There's her text, her number to text, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. unless it's an extreme emergency. The support staff at Sheiko is Mr. Paul, our school social worker. Just reach out to anybody, honestly, anybody in the Sheiko building that you already have a relationship with, that you already feel comfortable with. These are just a few of your options. But if it's for technology support or just needing clarification and you can't get a hold of the classroom teacher, you can reach out to me. We're all here for you, available. And if we're not available, we'll find someone that is. So just reach out to whoever you feel most comfortable with. Ms. James is always available. I don't know how she does it, but she manages it. She's available for all of us, including the staff. So just, when you're feeling overwhelmed or you feel like you need help or just want some clarity, just know we're here for you.
And I almost called you Mr. Paul. Ms. Van Nostrum, would you do me a favor? Would you at some point, I'm actually going to ask if you would put your email address on the slide as well, because you are one of our tech gurus in the building for parents that may need some of that technical support. And Ms. Engelhardt, if you wouldn't mind just having her there as a person to reach out to if we need help in the building, so that you have some specific go-to people, and especially for our third grade parents who really do not know our Sheiko staff because they didn't have the opportunity to come in at the beginning of the year. And some may have relationships, but many of our parents do not have relationships beyond that of their classroom teacher or know who to go to. So maybe this slide this evening, we probably need to kind of tweak and add your names as well as our secretaries as well too, with their email addresses, so that parents do have the additional resources for that. Okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right, thank you. And parents, just know that this video in our presentation will be linked to our Sheiko page, and we will send an email. It is being recorded, so you will be able to reach back and get this information. But I think posting it also to our website would be a great place for parents to go. And parents, just as we have created social contracts at school, I think that creating a social contract at home would be a great place. And Ms. Engelhardt, this is your slide.
All right, here we go.
That's right.
So we had mentioned the social contract that was created by your student and their classmates and teacher at the beginning of the school year. And like I said, they'll be tweaking it to fit their virtual environment. But I do highly recommend that you try this with your own family. I did this with my family about 4 years ago when they were younger in their teen years, and it did make a really big difference. So creating this family social contract, it's quite simple because you're going through 4 questions. So the first question that you as a family would ask each other is, how do you want to be treated by me? So as the parent, you could be asking that of your children, and they would share how they want to be treated, and you can write it down. Then the next question is, how do you think I want to be treated by you? So again, your student is answering these questions. You can jot those down. How do we want to treat each other? And finally, how will we treat each other when we have a problem? And I will tell you, this final bullet point was huge when we did it as a family in my household, because the way I, as an adult, thought we should solve some problems and treat each other was very different than what my 2 sons felt. So it was very eye-opening. And I will tell you what, the way they suggested actually worked so much better. And it kind of empowered them with their own voice. And as a family, we ended up jotting down our thoughts together, and then we all signed it, and it was stuck on our refrigerator, honestly, for years, until a year and a half ago when we renovated. But otherwise, it was on our fridge for quite a while. So I do recommend this, especially during these trying times. It kind of keeps it real, so to speak, and kind of gives you a pleasant reminder about treating each other in your family with kindness, even if you aren't having the greatest day or feeling the best at the moment. But you will be amazed at the gains as a family you will make. And the nice part is, when somebody's acting out, you can be very kind to each other and give each other a check-in in terms of how they're treating you. Are they following the social contract?
And I don't know if parents know, but as a staff, we've also done this. So as a staff, we have a social contract and we refer to it. And, it's definitely been eye-opening and very helpful, and brought us closer together as a staff, because we're very open and honest about the answers to these questions. And then we agree to the words that represent each one, and we all sign it just like the students do in the classroom. And then when we meet, our social contract is visible. We can refer to it. A lot of times our meetings start off with a focus of 2 of the words from the social contract. Maybe it's being open-minded. Maybe it's, saying just enough. But it's definitely a great tool that we have found a huge amount of success with in the building.
Amita, thank you, Ms. Van Nostrand. And will you take us we're going into our final stretch, families. I said that I didn't want to keep you too long, and we're a little over our 30 minutes, but how to stay connected. Ms. Van Nostrand has a little, presentation or a little clarification on some things.
So one of the things that I think is going to be super helpful is to make sure that you are a parent observer of your students' classroom canvas. I know that, just from looking at my Canvas page, that there are a handful of families that have taken this opportunity to create their own Canvas account and link it to their students' Canvas. I personally feel, with my son is a kindergartner at Doherty, and I feel that it's helpful, especially when a teacher sends an announcement, because he doesn't check email. So that announcement comes to me, and then it also comes to me. So it comes to both of us, and then I can, give him some reminders. So I've linked the directions for the classroom canvas so that you can become a parent observer. And there are great visuals here. It's broken down step by step. The first thing that you're going to do is start in your child's Canvas homepage. Click on account, click on the settings. So this is the account button here, sorry. And then settings. And then under settings, it'll say pair with observer. This will give you the code that you need. So I just copied this code and then created my own account. So I have a teacher account and I have a parent account. So you'll just click here where it says click here, it's free, sign up as a parent, and then you'll put your information in that code that you just copied. You'll paste it right here where it says student pairing code. And then just start participating. You can then, once you've done that, you just have to go back to the account button, and then under your setting, or excuse me, under the option for settings is an option for observing. And this is where you can link an additional student. So if you have more than one student, the first student is already connected. So once you do this first set of directions and you put in that student pairing code and start participating, you've already logged in as an observer to their account. So when I see their account, I see their name, and then I see who is signed up as an observer. Sometimes there's one parent, sometimes there's more than one. And then you would follow these steps if you have more than one child. So you would add the second code. So you'd have to go back to the other student's account to get that, that pair with observer code. And then you can add it again into your account. So I have no problem walking anyone through this. If you would like to just Zoom with me and I can walk you through it step by step. Or, you know, if you feel fine with these directions or have questions, just let us know. I think I just think it's helpful to be connected and staying connected with the student's account, because there are things that sometimes I feel the students miss because there might be a banner at the top of their Canvas page that says, you know, Mrs. Van Ostrand is out today. Make sure you check your announcements. Or, you know, sometimes those notices at the very top, the students miss them because they're so used to just scrolling right to their Zoom link. So it's huge to stay connected and be able to help the students by creating your account and to observe as a parent on their Canvas pages.
So Ms. Van Nostra, I'm a parent and I sign up to be an observer. What do I have access to? Do I just get to see what my child sees? Am I receiving emails? As an observer, what are the benefits of being an observer?
So I don't know if she has it listed here. So I can only speak to what my student receives. Hold on one second. This is for the app. So I know that I can see Xander's Canvas page. Like I can log in I can log in and show you what it looks like. I get notifications in my email now that I am an observer. Oh, of course, it's going to want to log me in as
The teacher.
As Xander's mommy. That's interesting. Okay, hold on one second. So I know that you get the notifications for the announcements for sure.
Okay.
And because of how Canvas is used in kindergarten, it looks a lot different than how it's used for 3-5. I'm not really sure all of the things that parents see.
Okay.
So right now I'm logged in as Xander's observer. And I can set the notification preferences. So this might answer some of the questions you're asking, Sonia. So right now I have it set up so that I can see his due dates. I have the grading on. I can turn the course, like if something new gets added to his course content, I can get notified immediately, a daily summary, a weekly summary. Right now it's off because I know the teachers are making a lot of updates. The announcements are notified immediately. And then you have a lot of options here that you turn on or turn off. And so it just really depends on, you know, Xander's not really getting a lot of assignments that he's getting graded on in Zoom because he's a kindergartner, right? I mean, he's a kindergartner. From the dashboard, I can see the courses that he has. I can click into the course, and I can basically see what he sees
Okay.
as a parent instead of like as a student. Like I can't submit any work, but I have a pretty good idea of, what he's being asked to do for the day, as a parent.
This is awesome. You just taught me something tonight. I think that I think that we should just set up a Zoom for one day for parents, because this right here is something I think that would be very informative, especially as we're going through this time right now, for parents to have access to. And as a parent, if I still had an elementary child, an elementary age student, I would love to be able to see what my child is doing, or even to get those notifications. And because everyone may not be as tech savvy, but just being able to walk our parents through it, I think
Sure.
would be a great idea. So I guess for parents that are on here, look for more information about a upcoming Zoom, so that we can just focus right on this right here.
Mhm.
How's that sound? You like to put us in a spot?
No, not at all. That's perfectly fine.
Awesome.
I'm
Perfect.
here
I
for
love it.
I'm
Okay.
here for it.
All right. Well, families, with that, I want to thank you for being here this evening. And just remember, be safe, and remember, we are Sheiko Sharks. We're Sheiko Strong, and we can do this. We can do hard things. Everyone, thank you for participating this evening. Again, this will This has been recorded. It will be posted to our website. You will be able to link in and look for more information through our parent updates with regards to a Zoom. And I'd like to thank Mrs. Van Nostrand and Mrs. Engelhardt for being here with us this evening. I think your information has been very valuable to our parents, and I just appreciate your time and effort and your time away from your families at 8 o'clock in the evening to help our Sheiko family. So thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. And again, Mrs. Van Nostrand will update and give you additional email addresses for parents, for those that may need some additional help. Everyone, have a great evening.
Have a great night.
Good night.